You bring the step-sill pelts you gather from the wind-long shadow to Aki, and she is as pleased as you would expect. You meet her on the bridge overlooking green fields. The greenbelt workers quietly toiling below, while the air recycles wind gently rustles the leaves of the crops. Sleeper! Aki holds the house to her chest. Thank you, these are a new beginning for us. Aki pauses, knitting her brow. How was she? The wind's long shadow. It must have been beautiful once. Aki smiles. She truly was. She looks down until he killed her. Aki sighs and looks out at the green belt fields. Everyone must die in the end. The belt makes wrecks of us all. She looks back to you. But what have you brought me? This is new life. Give us time. We will need to clear and reseed the other biosphere, Aki boasts. I hope you will return to us when the work is done. She presses a handful of shits into your hand. Thank you. She meets your eye. You watch her carry the house gently away, glowing with the promise of fresh growth. One, two, three, four. That's 6 cycles. Holy crap. Gonna take a while. Well, we need fuel. Buy a meal. Then we're gonna leave again. There's nothing for us to do here. And we are gonna have to go up here. So we're gonna have to go here first. And, look. Then we have to roll for some fuel. Cycle. I don't know what is like the most value in all this. Okay. Let's oops. Holmes Rock. See what's over here then. Sleeper? Bliss speaks quietly from the door at the back of the copy. Can we talk? You glance over at Seraphine, his head back and his eyes closed while the rig cuts through empty space. You don't seem to be needed here. You unclip from your harness and follow Bliss. How are you doing? Bliss glances over his shoulder as they drift towards the back of the ship. The question takes you aback. You can't remember the last time anyone had actually asked, with real intention, how you are. I'm feeling rough. Bliss shoots you a concerned look. To be honest, Sleeper, I'm not sure how you're still standing. Breaking out of dark side and again in Hexport, these things take a toll. Bliss turns a corner, so I think it's okay to feel rough right now. Bliss leads you off to the main corridor into the workshop they set up when they repaired the ship. It is small, but its neatly arranged tools and sloped walls help it feel cozy and tucked away. You see improvements everywhere, new tools and equipment. Bliss notices you looking at their upgraded setup. I told you it'd be worth taking along. Never doubted it. Bliss raises an eyebrow. Well, that's a lie. They smile. Feels good to hear though. Anyway, I didn't bring you here to brag. He paused, or at least not just to brag. He suddenly glanced away, the atmosphere in the room shifting. I can see your body is showing the strain, sleeper. I brought you here so we could do something about that. They beckon you towards the workbench where they both settle onto stools. They flick on a small light and aim it at your arm. Let them look. Bliss gently cradles your arm, turning it to inspect the underside. You see tears and holes in the vinyl skin and dark moving things beneath. Watch Bliss work. You look as Bliss brings the light closer to the biggest tear, and it glints off the metallic tendons in your forearm. Below them, you see something more fluid and wet catching the light. You know, you aren't the first sleeper I have met. Bliss talks while they inspect the rest of your arm. I actually partnered with one at my old repair bay in the eye. Feels like 100,000 cycles ago now, but I remember them. Their precise work, their quiet enthusiasm. There was something calming about their presence. Bliss swaps to your other arm. They were different to you, just like one person is different to another, I suppose, but I can't help but remember that time. He was a different person then, that's for sure. They meet your eye. I'm going through something of a transformation myself. How is that going? Bliss lays both your arms down and leans forward to inspect your upper chest, adjusting the light. I was pretending before, I think, to be the person I was expected to be. They press along the hard protrusion of your clavicle. There were so many calculations I was making, so many corrections. How I held myself, how I spoke, how I reacted. They pushed gently against each of your metallic ribs, one at a time. I didn't realize how tired I was until They stopped and sit back, until I gave up. I came here to the belt with someone else, and when I did, I realized this was my chance to become something new. So I let go of everything. They look away. It was messy, ugly, and the person I came here with, I let them go too. I was punching out at everything because it felt like everything was holding me back, stopping me for the change I was owed. Don't worry, they smiled weakly. I'm calmer now. I'm not about to explode on you or anything. It's still a difficult process, but it feels like shedding 100 suffocating skins that you spent half your life putting on, one by one. They meet your eye. It feels like an escape. They lean forward again and check the skin of your shoulders, where it is worn and faded. You let them, the atmosphere quiet but calm in the workshop, a feeling of solidarity glowing somewhere in your frame. Not bad, sleeper. You're holding up well, giving everything. Bliss folds their arms in front of them protectively. But I'm still concerned. There is some decline to your system functions. Let's keep an eye out for components. Thank you, Bliss. No problem. They release from the stool and drift over to a rack of tools. I owe you for jolting me out of whatever my life had become on the far spindle. You leave Bliss to the workshop, feeling reassured that you have them here on the ship. As you do, you think of a relationship to your own body, this frame that you were forced into that has never quite felt like your own. You realize that this feeling is not unique to you. No one gets to choose a body. Everyone has to contend with the entropy of their flesh. And in that realization, you suddenly feel less alone. Lumpen and cratered, Holmes Rock floats on the sunward side of the belt. Its only notable feature the bright shapes of its solar rays, angled towards the system's distant star. Can't even dock the rig here, Seraphine nods at the bright shape of Holmes Rock lone docking bay. Won't fit. We'll have to park here and go out the airlock. He seemed repulsed by the idea. What is this place? Was a Solheim relay station once. Now it's a way station of some sort. Seraphine squints at the rock. Never heard of much happening here, really. Barely seems worth the trip down, Bliss speaks up from the back of the cockpit. You never know. I guess, Bliss yawns, but don't expect to turn up any jobs all the way out there. I'll come down later. Don't feel like squeezing into a suit right now. Bliss gives a lazy wave as they glide out of the cockpit. We gaze out over Holmes Rock. It certainly doesn't look very exciting. But there's refueling to be done and maybe more besides. You might even be able to scare up a hot meal. You know, Sleeper, that Lotic freighter means we aren't far from Wellspring. Seraphine gives you a sideways glance. Your sister, I haven't forgotten. Alright then, Seraphine smiles. I appreciate it. I heard the pressure of the war in the inner system is having an effect on how the Lotic syndicate is being run. Just want to get here before something big goes down. He turns back to his console. They look out at the Lotic freighter painted the same distinctive yellow as the spring-tied back on the far spindle. You have heard they supply most of the water in the belt, not exactly an organization you want to collapse. The light catches your eye beyond the rock, the warm flash is gone as soon as it appears. You are at the sunward edge here, and beyond is the inner system. Holmes Rock might look sleepy, but it lies on the shores of a corporate war, something residents will painfully aware of. Okay, so we need to have nothing opened. So we have to do this, and that one is locked from us because we don't have engage. Sucks. A place like home. Oh, this is kind of bollocks. Why this is risky is something I don't quite understand though. To me this should be a safe one to unlock all this. Okay, what do we have here? Get fuel. If we need money, I could sell it there, but right now we don't need money. There might be somewhere else that's better. Well, there's no risk in doing this. The only thing that can happen is that we lose some. Oh well. And there is no point doing that, by the way. Okay. That's one cycle, and this is the second cycle here. Okay, see what this unlocks now. On Holmes Rock, it's impossible to get away from the feeling of living, working, and eating in a ruin. Most of the belt is built on top of the remains of Solheim's infrastructure, but there are plenty of places where the modifications or extensions to those structures eclipse the original foundation. On Holmes Rock, it's the reverse. The station is a small warm patch at the center of a network of tunnels and bases stretched within the rock. Most of them dark, damp, and wrecked. A sprawling foundation that will never be built upon. Every so often, gliding on your way between Senna's Rest and the Sun Catchers, or from the docks to the depot, you find yourself in one of these dark tunnels. That's where you are now. You float, stopped at a four-way intersection, no light visible down any tunnel. Okay, where shall we go? Forward, left, right, upside down? Backwards. We go right. We glide right into a narrow passage with pipes running along its walls. One of them rumbles with a soft current. What could be flowing here? You arrive at another crossroad, but one of the tunnels had collapsed and is blocked with dust and rock. Straight ahead. You drive straight ahead through a tunnel with loose wires waving in the dark. On either side, tiny lights occasionally blink, signs of a ghost network still running in the walls. You arrive at another intersection with crooked passages leading away into the dark. I'll be going straight. Kick off gently from the wall and head into a cylindrical passage clad with panels that holds back the rock. It is wider than the others, and here and there little drops of water float undisturbed. At the far end you see a faint point of light, the warm glow of a lit passage. Suddenly you hear rustling in the dark and a shrill sound that you can't place. There is something out there. Okay, 50-50, let's go. Come on. Made it. You kick off hard and glide through the tunnel, feeling a few drops of water gently spattering your skin. You shake off the fears as you move. The dark doesn't scare you. Then it hits you. Something solid and meaty slamming into your stomach and spinning away. You press off the wall and push on as a shrill wail echoes behind you in the dark. What the hell was that? When you reach the lit passage beyond, you turn back, but the tunnel is silent and still. You continue on, but you can't shake the feeling of being followed as you ascend back up through the station. Perhaps next time you will take a different route. Okay. We don't have any scrap to sell. Okay, let's do that. Got some cryo and energy back. Nice. We have anything? Yeah, we do. We have this one. Okay, let's go. That's it, Surfing nods toward the featureless asteroid. Those are the coordinates Juni gave me. You look out at the rock. It's like thousands, hundreds of thousands of other rocks in the Starward belt. All these objects, much the same, spread across a huge circumference of space. A good place to hide something. That's it? Juni speaks up from the back of the cockpit. That's it, Seraphine confirms. She drifts forward, her eyes tracing the shape of the rock. There, she points. That hexagonal crater. She turns to you. That's the entry. Look at the dark spot on the already dark rock. It's a start. Let me guess, another hatch for me to cut. You turn to see Bliss smiling, having slipped in at the back of the cockpit unnoticed. I get my torch. You look out at the assuming rock and wonder what it might contain. A few dusty tunnels or something more. Time to go find out. Okay, what do we have here? Yeah, we got that one. This one is probably going to give us most. We got a fiber. Five. Juni is worthless on this one. I only get that one to a 3. So yes, I can't really do anything. We have to end the cycle here. Well, you can use her, but it gets negative 2, and it's that's really shitty rolls, man. What the heck? There should be a 4, 5, and Amelia. Good. Stress will go away. We should unlock this. The next spot. Oh, perfect. Oh shit! No, Bliss is useless instead. Okay, nothing I can do, unfortunately. Oh my god, what the heck, man. When you enter the access spire, the crew suddenly went very quiet. The images of a vast space seen through the viewing windows, the pristine wall paneling, the cool and the quiet. There's a sacred mood to this place, a feeling of hallowed ground. Now as the facility's final entry lock verse, flooding the passage with stale, dusty, 10,000 cycle old air, Junie speaks. It's impossible. She drifts down the spire and out into the cavernous interior. A constellation of red specks mark the vast extent of the space, and within it a ring of monolithic buildings curves away, running along the circumference of the massive chamber. You follow her, slowly, out of the doorway and into the bunker. With a name like that, you had imagined low, sloped ceilings, dark tunnels, a basement cut into the rock. But this place is a cathedral, a cocoon the size of a city. Look at the ring! Bliss nods at the vast structure encircling the cavern. That's Solheim built, alright? It almost looks like Erlin's eye. Descending into the ring takes a while. Despite the empty space, no one wants to rush through it. The feeling of entering a sacred territory remains, though the deeper you go inside, the more obvious it becomes that this place is more tomb than temple. You touch down amongst the grey metal units, most of them featureless and dark. They tower above you now, their plain frontages revealing little about their function and interior. Stay close. Junie moves ahead into the gap between the two structures. This place is a labyrinth. Welcome, visitors. A pale flicker appears near one of the units at the top of a square pedestal. I am the warden. Please provide access credentials. The flicker stabilizes into a figure, the statue of pulsing light. It pauses for a moment before repeating its request. Junie freezes and holds a calming hand out to you. She retrieves her deck, sliding it carefully from her backpack and turns it on. You look over at the warden, who waits patiently, white-eyed and absent, restating its security request with a regular rhythm. Guess that this avatar just exists to make human interaction comfortable. Its true body is the facility itself, this vast interior ring, speckled with sensors and systems. Suddenly the warden stops speaking, then a flash of red passes along the corridor. Credentials not provided, lockdown activating in 10, 9... You look over at Junie, whose eyes are rapidly scanning through a screen full of data. Questioning, Junie stumbles through the pronunciation of the passphrase. Leader. Instead, she looks up at the warden's avatar expectantly. The warden flickers again, distorts and then stabilizes. Oversight connection not active. Re-attempting. It repeats itself again, then again, intoning the words in regular rhythm. You look over at Junie, holding still as if encountering a wild animal. She meets your eye, but gives no indication of any action you might take. Loop bypass engaged. Welcome, officer. The synthetic voice shifts to a different tone. Leonard Dahl. The Avatar's white eye stays blank and blind. And guests. This protocol has been active the entire time, Bliss whispers. Surely that's not possible. Juni looks back at you and then at the warden. The figure flex staring out of your heads into the dark. Are we good, Juni? He looks at the warden. Warden, are we approved to access all facilities? Yes, Officer Dahl, the warden replies. Please remember, you're responsible for the conduct of your guests while visiting our facility. You should be careful, I don't like this. Bliss looks at the dead-eyed Avatar. You move forward, pushing between the structures towards a large building in the hope that it holds the facility's central data core. As you do, you pass benches, barren gardens with desiccated grass. A drinking bottle floats in the air among the dust motes. This place is dead. Be aware, officer. The warden reappears in the dark, shimmering on a pedestal. Due to this facility's extended run cycle and the activation of the hibernation protocol, access to the central data store will be strictly limited. However, if you wish to show your guests the habitation facilities, I'm sure they will enjoy the tour. The Avatar remains expressionless, disconnected from the voice that accompanies it. On a personal note, I'm glad to see you return to the facility. The figure flickers. I'm happy to report that I'm ready for program reactivation at any time. Juni stares at the Avatar. Thank you, Warden, she pauses. Can I ask how long ago the hibernation protocol was activated? Certainly, 11,473 Helion standard cycles ago. The warden distorts. If I'm in error, I apologize. Some subsystems have not been properly maintained. He looked at the blind Avatar standing on its pedestal, waiting for an order that would never come. So many cycles in the dark, patiently holding this place together as it fell apart, resisting entropy in its bubble of the past. Thank you, Warden. That will be all. Juni nods to the Avatar, which promptly blinks out of existence, leaving only the dust and the dark. She turns to you and speaks quietly, but none of you know what sensors the Warden's vast body might have. My access. It won't last long, she sighs. We need to make the most of it. We'll go for the core. The Warden won't like that, but it's where the data is. She glances around. We can try to be delicate, take a little by little. I don't know how long this will last, Juni says. Let's get on with it. What's this then? Okay. So the core we have to be sensitive about, yeah. I can get to a 3, which is good enough because it's probably gonna be a hit there. Put this one to 4. Good enough. God damn it. Don't dare to risk anything on this one, really. We have two more cycles after this, and then it's... The core is the most important part, though. We got it. Done. Junior removes the cable from the data core's port. She looks up from the boxy piece of hardware, one that wouldn't fit inside any ship sort of freighter, and stares at the dune ceiling above, an oculus at its apex letting a shaft of light into the hole. It's a grand piece of architecture for what amounts to a massive piece of data storage, but then Solheim always did have a sense of grandeur when it came to its project. Why should a secret signal monitoring facility be any less opulent than its other buildings? You took everything? No, she laughs. All that, she points at the core, doesn't fit on this chapter deck, but I scraped the high-level stuff, that's all. That will have to be enough. We should go, Uni says. I'm not sure how the warden will react. She looks back over her shoulder at the vast core. I don't think we will be let back in to get more. As if listening for its name, the warden suddenly appears on one of its pedestals. It stares statist across the hall, its eye line way above your head. Officer Dahl, its voice sounds strange now, stretched drawn out. I have detected inconsistencies in the central data core. I believe there may have been unauthorized access. Union looks at you nervously. Thank you for bringing this to my attention. I will investigate when I can, but for now, my guest and I... He looks at you. Have to depart. The warden flickers. The warden bends and warps. The warden screeches a pulse of digital noise. Of course, the warden's voice is still broken, still slowed. I hope you enjoy your visit to this facility. Union looks up at the blind statue. Something is moving inside it, making its skin, if it has a skin, bend away from its body. Let's go, Junie. Junie nods and glides with you out of the doomed hall. You and Junie kick off from the ring outside the core and rise up towards the spire you entered through. As you do, you watch a few of the red lights embedded into the framework of the cavern flicker. Junie turns to you as you ascend through the dark. Do you think the warden is ancient? I mean, as a sleeper, maybe you. Goes quite a foot, you might know. I don't know. Yeah. You know, it's me neither. She looks up to the approaching spire. This is waiting for you in the access spire. Time to close up. Let's get on with it. Junior cycles the airlock and you go through now in your suits and helmets ascending the sealed spire. As you do, you look out of the viewing windows and something catches your eye. The ring's red lights and those few left on inside the cavern are turning off, layer by layer. Turn to Junie, but she is already looking out of the opposite side. The warden is shutting it all down, because she's ending it. You have to force the hatch back open at the top, but by the time you do, the spire is dark inside. The pristine walls no longer lit. You come out of the canvas of stars, an impossible number of them spread out in every direction. Take a moment to look at them. After being tucked away in the bunker, they seem impossibly bright and impossibly beautiful. You glance across at Junie and see she is looking up at the stars too, absorbing their light, as if doing so might lift her out of this time and into another one, where things were different. So if we stay one more. I want to get some tech if I can. This is a bit of a risk taking. Okay. It's uncertain quiet to the hab units of the facility, soft silent blankets every room and hallway. It's obvious from the number of rooms, the detritus, the scale of the place, that it was built to house hundreds, maybe thousands of people. Perhaps it did. Perhaps at the height of Solheim's control of the system, these rooms were filled with life. What kind of life would it be, though? Maintaining and running a secret installation inside a distant rock. No sun to speak of. No outside beyond the vast cavern that surrounds you, an eternal dark, punctuated by the flash of artificial light. And yet, even in such places, lives grow. You know that yourself from being a sleeper, from your work among the sleepers in the most wretched and distant corners of the surrogate systems. Even in the endless dark, people find ways to live. Come, take a look at this, Uni is searching on her own, a few rooms away. Glide through an open doorway into a living room with couches meant for zero-G use, a magnetic table, and a window that looks out to the regular constellation of red lights that describe the limits of this world. Uni is holding an object that makes you stop still and stare, blinking at what seems like an unusual reversal of scale. It is a model, you realize, of the rig. Not your rig, obviously, but a rig, or an MEV, rigger class, as the plaque on the base tells you. Mobile extraction vehicle, Juni follows your eyes to the plaque. Rigger class? She frowns. Seriously? That's why we call them rigs? He laughs. The noise bouncing back hard and cruel in the empty room. What does rigger mean anyway? He sighs. Another Solheim mystery. You look at the model, still fascinated by seeing your ship rendered in such a careful detail. You try to imagine what this model meant to those who lived here. A child's toy? A meaningless corporate knick-knack? The model's purpose remains opaque. There were so many of these flying around the system before the collapse, you know. Juni turns the model over in her hand. Solheim used to rent them out to colonists. I've seen the records. That was what they did here. They claimed the system, then rather than exploit it themselves, they provided goods and services to those who would. The work is paid for transit to the system, then accommodation, equipment, and access to the mining claims. Other co-ops like XPR or Neovend paid Solheim to access this closed market to provide other services. Meanwhile, Sabil paid even more to test terraforming tech in the system. They built massive projects here, rich from work they only facilitated but never undertook. But then they collapsed? Yeah, that's what happens when you are built on other people's work. A few high-profile accidents, malfunctions, and the exodus begins. Once it starts, the shareholders lose trust and Unit turns and squints out of the window. Here we are at the far end of it. Here, Unit turns and hands you the rig model. A gift. You take it and turn it over in your hands. You see something on the base, some words scratching in that you can't read. You run your fingers over them, touching the past. That's the closest thing to a treasure I think we will turn up out here, in his size. The people who worked this place didn't have much to their names, it seems, and what little they did have, well, Solheim owned that too. To lead you out of the hab units, passing countless doors, some sealed, some open, that lead to countless rooms where countless employees lived lives, or tried to, in the shadow of Solheim. Like it or not, this is what made the Helion system, what built the decaying structures you cling to as they orbit the star. What that legacy means now is a decision every resident of the Starward Belt has to make. Okay, we are done here then. Yeah. Seraphine sat at the Regan Holmes rock, the old solemn rays glinting in the sun. Looking out at the station, you suddenly remember the model June gave you, and you take it out of your pocket. Seeing it in full light, you notice it's made from cast metal, surprisingly detailed and robust looking. Well, look at that, Seraphine glides over. It's a mini rig. You let him take it. He turns it over in his hand, looking at it. What a find, he gazes at the model ship. What are you going to do with it? Mount it on your console. Really? Seraphine grins. Well, we can do that for sure. He looks at the model for another moment and pats you on the shoulder. Good call. Everyone can enjoy it then. Takes the model and glides over to his console. I'll get it sorted. Turns back smiling. Gonna look great. Sleeper? Junie puts a hand gently on your shoulder. You turn to see her smiling a rare smile. Thank you for going out on a limb for me. Oh no, that wasn't the most profitable job, but what we found, we're thinking about it for, well, ever. Managed to extract some data you can use. I'm going to search through everything we pulled out from the bunker. Junie looks down. I want to show you it was worthwhile. It was worthwhile. She nods. I'm glad you think so. I'll also start seeing where to find the kind of tools I need to work with data like this. Her smile is fading already, replaced by a familiar, determined stare. We can't let it go to waste, but my deck is not going to be enough. Darkside might be the only option. It's the biggest remaining Solheim facility in the belt, she sighs. I'll look into it. Either way, thanks for bringing me with you. I'm glad to be part of this, the smile returns, for as long as you will have me. She looks away nervously and then, before you can respond, she's gone. Off to find a corner of the ship where she can dig through the data she pulled from her past in order to build a better future. Okay, we got 2 points. Okay. No, I want these. Let's see. We need fuel and we need well, supplies. I see we need. Well, supplies we don't really need. Let's see what we. Couldn't do that anything with that, but we're gonna get back there eventually. So let's fill up our fuel. What can I? Wisdom. Okay, unseal the bay. Sure, why not? You drown in drowning gives up and sees door. You're in. There's a faded old Neo-Vent printer in the bay. Feeding it data should authorize the component vending process. Do one more. Yeah, that's all we can do. No. We can do work here or work up here. Money. Nice. So from here we should probably how much fuel is this? Isn't there a there isn't one, no? Okay, let's end the cycle. Making some money. Why not, Tom? Okay, and then we have one more cycle here at the end, and then we're gonna travel. Only stay 3 cycles because of us being hunted. Okay, so let's see. I'm gonna do one here because that means we will get energy back, right? It does well. But it went the bad way. But one of these gave energy. That one. Then we get some cash, and then we travel. Travel. Seraphine! The shout echoes through the ship, reaching in the cockpit. You see the angle of Seraphine's head change, but he does not respond otherwise. Did you hear that? No. Stay out of it. You stay silent. This doesn't concern you. Seraphine! You recognize the voice now. It's Bliss. Moments later, they come into the cockpit. Is no one listening? They look between the two of you. I guess that means none of you is guilty. Bliss shakes their head. Come on, you need to see this. You follow the irritated Bliss through the ship down into the cramped storage units tucked between the main ship and the hull. As you enter, you're greeted by total chaos. Amber globs of liquid Liquid ration float in the air and cling to the walls while chunks of dried food spin slowly breaking into crumbs. See? Bliss fumes. Someone opened up one of the supply crates and left it like this. They point to a crate in the storage netting with the lid pushed open. Yeah, I was wondering why I had 2 supply crates all of a sudden. Well, let's inspect. You take a moment to pick through the food and find a torn open pouch of liquid rations. You turn it in the light and see a set of evenly spaced gashes at the edge. Are those claw marks? Bliss pops out their cheeks. I need a break from the ship. They look at you. Help me tidy this up. Spend the rest of the journey packing the crate away and disposing of the spoiled supplies, but as you do, you can't help but wonder what actually happened here. When you finish, you take one last look around the storage bay. As you gaze around the now cleared space, you have the same feeling of being observed by unseen eyes as you felt in the tunnels of Holmes Rock. As it brings the ship into Wellspring's docking ring, you notice a rare tension in Seraphine's piloting. He jerks his stick a little too hard while the docking bridge extends and a proximity alarm goes off. He curses under his breath. Relax, it will be okay. I docked this ship 100 times, Sleeper. He keeps his eyes on the monitors. I am relaxed. That's not what I mean. Seraphine doesn't respond, but you see him grip the rig's controls a little tighter. As the ship stops, the docking bridge connected, you lean forward and look out the cockpit windows, trying to get a good view of the icy surface of Wellsprings below. The harsh gleaming ice gives way to the steep sides of the cut, the asteroid's one city. It glows and steams with warmth, and peering down into it, you cannot see the bottom. Beyond, along the horizon, you see the terraces of the pithead, where the current extraction effort must be taking place. Seraphine runs the shutdown sequence and unclips from his seat. He turns back to you, a flinty look in his eye. I'm going to head down into the cut. I've got a few leads to follow up on. You get the sense he isn't asking permission. Let me help. You can check out the city if you want, but I'm not following along, Sleeper. This is my trail to follow. Before you can respond, he pushes past and glides out of the cockpit. You turn and watch as he pushes past Bliss in the doorway. I missed something? Bliss shoots you a look. He seems even more irritable than usual. He's looking for his sister. Bliss raises an eyebrow. Family trouble? That will explain their irritation levels. I would recommend that you zip up the jacket, that we go after him before he pushes past someone that pushes back. Agreed. See you down there. At least Lane's unlikely to come out here to pick a fight with the Lotic Syndicate, Bliss shrugs. They turn and head towards the airlock, whistling softly as they do. I'll wait with the ship, Eunice's voice echoes through the thin interior wall of the corridor. I got the archiving to catch up on. She pauses. There's nothing older than 1,000 cycles on that snowball anyway. Wellspring, the base of the Lotic Syndicate, as you look out across its icy surface, you remember Malik, the captain whose ship you saved and for whom you surveyed the ice asteroid. You also remember how he promised to repay you for your actions should you ever cross paths again. Perhaps Wellspring is a good place for you to make that happen. After all, if Seraphine's sister is here, surely the Lotic Syndicate would be the best place to find her. Okay, let's see here now. There's a ship, and that's the only 2 points. So what's this? That's the facility, and okay, we do this one first. Crappy. Oh, come on, man. Okay, so we're not followed here, so that's a good thing. So we can take our time here. I have set to grab dices, and this is, I can't use engage, course. That one is locked because of our class. This one is danger, which means I have to get the 25% or I'm gonna lose just energy. I do have one of these. What's this one? I need a freaking pass for that one. Okay. What a bollocks. We can use this, but I'll lose 2 and so. Okay, let's see what we got here. Fill fuel, sure. Yeah. Didn't cycle. Okay. Amazing to think this place supplies most of the belt's water. Bliss looks across the cutwater at the workers in their distinctive yellow gear. No wonder the syndicate runs it like a corporation. You look at those gathered in low ceilings bar, gathered around cushioned couches and low magnetic tables, their voices bouncing off the metal walls. All of them wear Lothic clothing, a mark of their status as contractors for the belt's most powerful syndicate. You look back to Bliss, who is watching another group, quietly discussing something serious in the opposite corner. Lottie gets the job done. Bliss turns back to the bar and sips their drink through its mellow straw. Well, that's the thing. I've been looking around Chasm Row, searching out components in the markets. Down there, people don't seem so happy. Bliss meets your eye. There's a lot of talk of contracts. It seems Lothic's been locking down its workers, giving the war in the inner system as an excuse. They play with their metal straw, swirling their orbs of liquid in the sealed glass. The pressure is building, Sleeper. We shouldn't hang around here much longer. I sigh. The problem is we have no pilot. We need to give Seraphine time. Well, Bliss raises an eyebrows. It sounds like I'm not the only outsider who's been hanging out in Chasm Row. I heard someone complaining about a rude young man asking too many questions. Bliss smiles. Who else could that be? They laugh. That's the place to start if you want to find your boy. They said that he was asking about the Rhyme Market, but I have no idea what that is. Bliss looks out across the bar. Definitely a touchy subject for locals, though. I'll head there now. Bliss nods. I'll finish my drink. They smile. Let me know how it goes. You leave the cutwater, shouldering your way through a crowd of boisterous contractors. There's a conspiratorial mood to the conversations now that Bliss has mentioned it, and you wonder what all the talk is about. You feel the sudden cold as you leave the steaming bar and enter one of the icy passages cut into the asteroid itself. All this water in the hands of a single syndicate. If something goes wrong here, the belt would die of thirst long before the war reaches it. You turn up the collar of your jacket against the cold and head for Chasm Row. Okay. Come on, positive. I get 2 points. Oh, come you. And I lost 8 cryo? The heck, man, was that bullshit? The markers of Chasm Row have become familiar in the past cycles, their steaming, orange-lit depths. The persistent condensation on each unit's windows, the gleam of the amber workers' suits, each contributing to the particular atmosphere of this buried city. But among this, you have noticed other details too. The freelance crews on the hunt for illicit tech. The conversing workers who drop to a whisper when you pass, the light flickering up through floor grates, suggesting ever deeper layers. These are the details you have followed to the Ryan Market, a place discussed in hushed tones in dimly lit rooms. And as you drift towards what you know to be one of its entrances, the door bursts open in front of you. A large, dark bundle glides out of the door and impacts the metal wall of the passage with an echoing bang. But your eyes are drawn by the imposing figure that hovers in the doorway, bracing himself on the frame. Kirk, huh? Stay out of the Ryan Market, rat! The man resents an orb of spit spinning after the bundle. The bundle unfolds and you suddenly recognize Seraphine, winded, but straightening up to go back for more. Up, Seraphine. You rush up in front of Seraphine, and as you do, he tries to kick off from the wall back into the fight. Block him, and he suddenly switches his angry glare to you. Stay out of this, sleeper. Stop this. Know when you're beaten, rat, the man calls out. It's time to go home and lick your wounds. Seraphine exhales in frustration, his anger fading, replaced by the stinging pain of his injuries. You watch a perfectly round blob of blood form at the bottom of his nose. Want to explain what's happening? For record, the man folds his arms. This one started. He looks between the two of you. Snooping around our meeting like a rat, you see his sharp eyes recalculating the situation since your arrival. I wasn't snooping or looking for someone, Seraphine glares. If you had taken a minute to talk to me before throwing a punch, maybe you would have got to that. The man scratches at his beard, squinting at Seraphine. Say I believe you. What were you doing at the meeting then? Missing persons ain't our business. All I heard is that this is where the Lottie contractors meet, Seraphine sighs. I don't like you hearing that, not at all, and I'm going to need to ask you who told you that later. He straightens up. But yeah, this is where the contractors meet, as if that's anything to you. The person I'm looking for is the contractor. Seraphine's frustration rises again. She uses the cover name Luz. He pauses, a desperation entering his voice. Please. I think she might be my sister. Something changes in the man's stance. He holds up a massive hand to silence Seraphine and looks down the passage in both directions. Not here. He retreats through the door. Get in. As you both enter, he reaches past you and slams the metal door behind, spinning the locking wheel with one hand. I'm Kirk, he grunts, pointing at himself with a thick thumb. Contractors are my concern, but if Lottie catch us discussing contracts out there, he shakes his head. He turns and leads you down the passage. You pass an open door and you glance inside to see a group gathered in a circle, all of them in workers' clothes. They are speaking in hushed voices. One of them exchanges a nod with Kirk. Let's not interrupt the meeting anymore, shall we? He glares playfully at Seraphine, who remains silent. Kirk leads you to the side of a massive vertical metal pipe with a rough hole cut in the side. He beckons you both inside. You descend through the pipe in silence and darkness. Suddenly you come out through the ceiling of a wide, low hall. As far as you can see, crooked stalls and makeshift shelters dot the grid floor, lit by scavenged lanterns and light strips. Steam drifts up through the crates, concealing the room so you cannot see the walls. Welcome to the Rhyme Market, Kirk gestures a thick hand at the ramshackle interior. Lottie don't know about this place, he smiles. Let's get a drink. He leads you off to a nearby stall with a set of improvised stools welded to the floor in front. He hooks his legs onto one and you and Seraphine follow suit. He holds up 3 fingers to the stall's owner and a drink in a straw-pierced packet is handed to each of you. Seraphine looks skeptical at the drink. You friends now or something? Look, Kirk takes a sip. I'm not going to apologize for putting you on your arse. That's on you. But like I said, I represent the contractors. If someone is part of the family, well... He shrugs his massive shoulders. Then they deserve to be heard out at least. You know who we are looking for? Luz, he said. I know a Luz, sure. Describe her. Kirk leans back on his stool. I'm not giving you anything more until you prove she's your sister. Seraphine closes his eyes. Dark hair, used to wear it long and messy. Bright eyes, broad shoulders. You see a little twitch around his eyes as he recalls. Tough by kind, tattoos. Nervous laugh. He opens his eyes and glares at Kirk. That enough? Kirk sniffs. Yeah, that's her. He feels something jump in Seraphine. An almost impeccable tension rising. It's her. His sister. Luz, Kirk speaks slowly, drinking between, or whatever her real name is one of the contractors here. She's part of the most recent contracts Lotic registered. That means... Just tell me where she is, Seraphine demands, his impatience getting the better of him. As I was saying, Kirk gives Seraphine a pointed look. Those new contracts are restricted to the pithead. In fact, that is what we were discussing when you interrupted our meeting. Seraphine looks away in frustration but holds his tongue. Since the war, the Lotic Syndicate has been trying to lock down Wellspring. They went from a loose association of mining groups to an autocracy and started enforcing contracts with some seriously overreaching terms. Your sister, she's one of those she's on one of those contracts. Lotic are acting like they own her and the others, because according to their contracts, they do. Which is exactly what we want to do something about. This cycle, he forcefully taps the bar with a finger. We are voting on strike action and a full blockade of Flotsam. We will bring the syndicate to the table too. Seraphine knocks his drink away and kicks out from the table, disappearing into the market. David Kirk. Kirk watches Seraphine go with a disappointed look in his eyes. Your friend will go to the Lotic Syndicate, I know it. He sips from his drink. They won't help him here. Kirk's bright eyes meet yours. The Syndicate will do nothing for him or for you, trust me. I want to help you, Sleeper. I want to help your friend, but I need your help in return. I want to help. Good, Kirk nods. I know you would. Kirk places a plastic passcard into your hand. It glints with the mark of the Lotic Syndicate, a blurry ID photo laminated into its transparent interior. This will get you into the pithead. You can see for yourself what's happening there. Don't follow your friend to Lotic. Go to the pithead. Find Luz there yourself. You meet your eye. When you do, come back to me and we can discuss how to free her and everyone else like her. Go to Lotic. If you meet with them, I can't help you. He releases your forearm, drifts back into the crowd, disappearing into the steam and darkness. Catch up with Seraphine in the bustle of the Rhyme Market among the steam and crowds. Can I have been the only one who saw this pitch coming a mile off? Seraphine is bristling with anger. What kind of idiots does he think we are? that what this is about? It's about getting my sister out of whatever mess she's gotten into. Seraphin stopped to push through the crowd towards the exit tunnel. We need to speak to Lothik. Forget these clowns. He shoves his way forward. We don't need to get tied up in this. We just need to get her out. Seraphine forges on ahead and you get caught up in the crowd behind him. As he disappears from view, you curse his impatience. You float there for a moment, buffeted by passing people clutching onto the Lothik pass, trying to decide what to do next. Okay, but stuff. What's here? Okay. Come on. Nice. Go, Gadget, go! I believe in you. Okay, I need to buy some food. Oh, free food? Do it! Do it! Shaft descends towards the sump in the depths of the pit. Here the air is freezing cold to prevent the ice from melting into globulus of floating water. If your breath carried water, you would be able to see it in the air, but the absence of steam in each exhalation only serves to remind you of your own strangeness. Not that anyone else has noticed. The workers' heads are low, their eyes fixed on their work, shuttling chunks of ice and tools up and down the shaft. At the end of nearby tunnels, you see the bright sparks of ice cutting in progress, slabs hanging in the air in that strange way they do in 0G. Some loose memories of the time before Darkside, before Lane, before Freedom come to your mind. The familiarity of the cold, the sparks, the endless toil. It chills you more than the packed ice on either side of you ever could. You reach the bottom of the shaft, a metal grill marking the terminus. It squeezes as you push open the barred door to step into it, and safety lights flicker on, lighting up the glittering ice particles all around in their hard beams. It is as if all the stars are held here, in this cavern. As your eyes adjust, the massive space comes into focus. It seems to have no up or down, just countless dark shafts and terraced pits cut into its side. All around, silhouetted by the work lights, contractors cut and haul and gather. This is where those locked-in workers are being held, caught in a contract clause that permits an endless shift. The atmosphere is grim. At the center of the cabin floats a construction of welded-together habitation units. A heavy twist of cables stretched from this improvised structure past you and up the shaft behind, tethering up to a central power source. On each of 6 sides of this strange apartment block, a set of struts project outward, bracing the construction against the cabin walls. The block itself is wrapped in insulation, clad in protective plates. It glows with small apertures and lights. You approach the nearest entrance. Everything is bitten by rust, but decay. If the bars of the entrance weren't a clear enough indicator, it is obvious now that this place is a prison. The door scissors open, letting out a blast of warm air. You quickly duck inside and it seals rapidly behind you. The cramped interior passage glows warmly, but its ragged condition keeps it from feeling cozy. You follow the corridor, ducking beneath hanging wires and loose insulation. This is where you were told you will find Luz, or whatever her real name is. Coming into a communal mess. Counters and food preparation units filling into the walls. Cushioned stools and couches scattered around. A couple of contractors are stretched out in the space, one of them snoring loudly in the corner, another sipping from a food packet on a stool. Suddenly, a door on the far side opens out to the cabin, letting in a flurry of ice shards that quickly become scattered orbs of water. You watch the figure as it glides into the warm light of the interior. With the dark hair and bright eyes, you know this is who you are looking for. You meet eyes with hers and something sparks in that dull and cloying room. It says if she recognizes you. Sleeper? She looks in a haze, her hair stuck to her forehead with the sweat, her eyes still adjusting to the interior. Luz? You nod slowly. You see her scan you, taking in your clothes, the way you hold yourself, your face. For a moment you feel exposed, aware of your damaged vinyl skin, your industrial markings, your doll-like features. You feel a familiar sense of being objectified, but also something warmer below it, a recognition of what you are. She blinks, exhales, and shakes her head, realizing she is mistaken. Give me a sec, alright? I just finished cutting 100 cubic meters of ice. She pulls back her hood. Haven't seen you down here before. They just contract you or something? The tension drops, but you get the feeling she isn't quite looking at you. He crosses to a food unit and pulls out a packet, slotting into a warmer. He thumbs it on. First sleeper I've seen in a long while. Doesn't take her eyes off the slowly warming food. You do okay down here. I know you folks are tough and stick with the job. That's good. The rest I can show you. Once I have eaten. She laughs a little to herself. I'm with your brother. My brother? She pauses, her eyes not leaving the warmer. Think you have me confused with someone else. Stop. We need to talk. She turns to face you and you see a wet shine into her eyes. What are you going on about? You realize what you need to tell her. Seraphine is on Wellspring. The warm air chimes to let her know the food packet is ready, but she doesn't seem to notice. Seraphine? She takes a ragged breath and steadies herself. Here? Not here, at the cut. She nods and then shakes her head. Well, if he trusts you with his name, I guess I should trust you with mine. She comes closer. I'm Tala. He smiles a warm smile. Now, where's my idiot brother? I'll take you to him. He laughs nervously. Sorry, this is not what I was expecting on my lunch break. Tala suddenly seems to take on some energy. She glances towards the corridor behind you and the door at its end. Sure hope you have a plan, Sleeper, because they do not want us locked in contractors getting out. She moves towards the corridor. There's security in the shaft and then again at the pit head. You must have passed through the checkpoint at the entrance too. I doubt we can bypass all those. You Turns back, grabs the food packet, smiles at you, and shepherds you towards the corridor. You could run a distraction, maybe. Or is Sarah on that already? You are slightly taken aback by her sudden change. You don't actually. Blaring alarm sounds inside the habitation module, loud enough to wake the sleeping contractors with a start. You and Tala exchange glances. Surely this can't be for you. Tala rushes down the corridor and tears open the door at the far end, with you following close behind. The eye scatters, glittering in the interior light. The cabin is in chaos. You see dark-suited Lotic security wrestling with contractors, lit by flashing red lights. More contractors are coming in through the door in the grill you entered from, carrying bulky equipment. The equipment is blaring out a voice, Kirk's voice, echoing around the cabin. A look of panic crosses Tala's face. The general strike is now in effect. All contractors should down tools and hold in place. Extraction will cease until our terms are met. Kirk's voice distorts and shifts. We have blockaded all traffic to and from Wellspring. We seek the resignation of the Syndicate's leadership and for a new Workers' Council to be installed in its place. This cycle, we will shut down the shaft. Any worker not willing to strike should leave now. There's a screech of noise and the message begins repeating. He watches the security push back towards the grill, outnumbered by the gathering workers. Tala looks at you for guidance. What do you want to do? Tala looks around the cabin, the red light reflecting her wide eyes. Besides, I need to stay. I won't abandon the others. What about Seraphine? Tell my brother what's happening. Tell him I'm not leaving until all of us are free. Tala backs away, glancing over his shoulder at the others. You see them gathering the tools and taking them to be locked away in the hab module. I need to see this through, Sleeper. You need to go. Find Seraphine. Do what you can from out there. Help us change the place. And with that, she turns and glides off towards the others. You turn and head for the grill as quickly as you can, the way now cleared by the contractors. The handful of Lotic security pushed back to somewhere near the pit head. As you ascend, other contractors shooting you dark looks as you do. You realize you have to speak with Kirk. You find Kirk at the pit head, directing contractors to barricade the entry points to the mine. So you took my advice. Good. Kirk smiles. We are glad to have you as an ally here, Sleeper. You could have warned me. The entirety of Wellspring is at stake here, Kirk shakes his head. This is not about individuals. The Syndicate was arrogant. They did not believe we could do this. Kirk gestures towards the contractors welding plating across the checkpoint. But we far outnumber them. Their monopoly ends here. How can I help? Kirk leads you a little away from the contractors. If you want to free those like Seraphine's sister, I will need your help. We have ships, but not many, and the Syndicate still has tankers in operation. The blockade is not complete. The debris field between here and the far spindle remains open. We need another tanker to occupy it and dissuade the Syndicate from trying to pass. All of our ships are in use, but your ship and your crew could help us take a tanker and secure the blockade. How will we take it? This will not be an assault, Kirk puts a hand on your shoulder. The tanker, the headstream, has been held outside Wellspring for many cycles. The crew is tired and sympathetic to our cause. We will just give them a nudge. The ship proposed as an in-distress trader trapped inside a debris field. When the headstream is obliged to rescue, we will board and encourage the crew to take control. We? Kirklas, you think I wouldn't come? Key to your success. Kirk folds his arms across his chest. Will you do it? Sure, I will. No, you would. I'm glad to have you in our cause, Sleeper. Suddenly, Kirk puts two fingers in his mouth and blasts out a shrill whistle. Contractor quickly approached it with a large box in front marked with screens and dials, and the back by loose cables. You will need this HasNav unit to navigate the debris field, noted the contractor. Jansi will install it in your ship. Consider it a gift from our cause to yours. Notes once more and Jens passes by you, heading for the lift to the docking ring with your new module. I will provide the headstream's coordinates. He moves away towards the contractor, still working on the checkpoint. I will wait for your word. You leave the pithead behind, your mind racing. You do not know how you have ended up in the middle of all this, but you know that it will be up to you to pull your way out. Leaper! Seraphine comes up the passage towards you. What's happening? I heard the pithead is taken over by Kirk's guys. This, you realize, will take a lot of explaining. Okay. I don't know if we need supplies or not. Let's see. So let's see, supplies. Where the heck do I get supplies from? Oh wait. We can do some work here, right? Get one. Okay. I guess we go for it then, huh? Ooh, what do we want here? Yeah, we go with this thing. Because I have that. I don't have that one, but... let's go with that. The headstream looms large in the cockpit windows as it comes to a stop. I can't believe you talked me into this, Seraphine says. This is not a good plan. Convincing Seraphine to take Kirk out to this Lotic freighter wasn't exactly easy, but with the pithead on lockdown, there really weren't any other options. Voice crackles over Seraphine's terminal, loud enough to hear, but quiet enough that you can't pick up what's being said. What are they saying? Seraphine glances back over his shoulder at you. They're telling us to prepare for docking. He swallows nervously and turns back to the console. Good, keep them talking. You look behind you to see Kirk floating by the doorway. Seraphine flicks the comm switch and begins speaking to the Lotic ship, thanking them for responding to the distress signal, trying his best to play the part of a nervous trader suffering an engine failure in the debris field. Kirk jerks his head for you to follow him into the corridor, and you unclip from your seat and float out behind him. It's okay with you, I'm going to play the captain on this one. He flat stares, suggests he hasn't asked for permission. Fine by me. Kirk notes, I appreciate it. Let me tell you how this is going to go. He starts moving down towards the airlock and you follow as he talks. The headstream has been holding here, cycle after cycle, while Wellspring tried to squash rebellion. He smiles at the idea. Now the blockade is in effect, well, they will know they have to hold out for longer still. While the messages from Lotic operation gets less and less frequent, he stops by the locker, swapping his Lotic uniform for an old flight jacket. It's a ship full of tired, unhappy, underpaid, and underfed workers. You both arrive at the airlock. We just have to nudge your anger in the right direction. It's a hiss as the airlock cycles. Lotic are coming on board. Kirk catches your eye and gives you a wink. The airlock door is open, revealing a drained-looking Lotic captain flanked by security officers. Lampert, huh? Lampert, captain of the Headstream, he presents himself immediately above a little enthusiasm. We have been in communication with your pilot and our docking is requested to provide support. He looks between you and Kirk, his eyes lingering on you a little too long, no doubt taking in the strange vinyl skin, dark glowing eyes, and doll-like face on your frame. He directs his attention to Kirk. How fares your crew? Thank you, Captain. You notice the immediate change in Kirk, his deflated posture and softer speech. We are surviving as best we can, but now that you have come to our rescue. He sighs and holds out an eager hand to Lambert. We are very grateful indeed. Lambert just limply shakes Kirk's hand, not too worried. The Lotic Syndicate takes its stewardship of Wellspring and the surrounding environment seriously. After, it is our duty to offer aid to traders and travelers alike. I'm afraid we don't have much to offer by way of supplies. Our stores have been depleted by our long posting here. But your crew is free to enter our ship and make use of its facilities while you make your repairs. Kirk continues playing with his music captain, nodding enthusiastically and uttering a stream of thank yous. You feel like he's pushing it a little, though Lampert only seems to be paying the minimum of attention to him. Suddenly he turns a sharp eye to you. Your pilot didn't mention you had a sleeper on board. He stays silent. Kirk quickly responds, apologies. They're such a good work and quiet too. You sometimes forget they are even there. Perhaps if your ship is in need of maintenance, you can borrow them for a few cycles. Lambert eyes you more brazenly now, taking Kirk's lead as permission to indulge his curiosity. Yes. His eyes trace a tear in the thick skin of your forearm. Perhaps it could be of use to us. I'll send them to speak with your crew. I'm sure they can direct the sleeper to appropriate tasks. Oh, they would love that, Lambert jokes. They are a work-shy bunch, this lot. I'm sure they would be eager for a slave. The word sets you on edge. We're happy to serve, Kirk boasts. After all, we owe you our safety. Very good. Lambert seems suddenly bored or tired, or perhaps both. Tell your crew they are free to cross the docking tunnel then. He pauses, but remind them that no funny business will be tolerated. He smiles a sharp smile. That matters to attend to. Lambert turns. See you later, Captain. And with that, Lambert heads back down the tunnel, still flanked by his two silent security officers. Kirk waits until he's out of sight to turn to you. Good, he lets out a breath. Well held, sleeper. I thought from the look in your eye you were going to knock him out. He chuckles. I would love to. I bet. Kirk stares down the corridor. But don't you worry. We're going to pay him back for all that very soon. Kirk squeezes your shoulder. Shall we go meet his crew? See what their opinions are on Lotic's administration? He smiles broadly. With a captain like that, I doubt they will be very positive. Okay, so let's see what we have here. I mean, this one moves so quickly sometimes, man. Well, let's see. That's engineering. Okay. Okay. Let's see. We start here then. Oh, we wrote down this differently. Realized. Yeah, that's engineers. Ah. Make it a 3, which isn't good enough, really. Okay, I'm gonna have to do something about that, huh? Are we back? Yeah, I don't know. It's just OBS just lost connection there for a moment. YouTube was fine, but almost done. I don't know. I'm trying to do. I have what I know of 2 main things to do. Main stories. We have to do this one, then we have to go to a shipyard. So I don't know if there's more to it after that. We will see. Yeah, thanks, Diggy. To remind you them. Let's do this. God damn it. please, please make it. Here comes cuts. Okay, it's 2 down. It's kind of weird though how it's connected to one but not the other. Yeah, but that's okay. Let's see. So we have this to do. This is a bit of a risk. Oh, I have to wait around. Oh, god damn it. So this is gonna be rough now. Kirk rushes into the bay you're crossing. It's all kicking off, Sleeper, a wild glee in its eyes. Lambert's lost control. He guides you through the headstream, a ship you have become surprisingly familiar with over the past few cycles. Perhaps it is the influence of getting to know the crew and their complaints around Lambert and the Syndicate, but its twisting corridors, thick pipes and cold metal have taken an oppressive feel, cycle by cycle, hour by hour. You won't stop talking about it. You will talk even more about it tomorrow. Now as the shouts of conflict echo down the corridor ahead, where a room glows with the warm light of the galley, you feel it the oppressive all being scraped away and replaced with some new and exciting quality. Enough! Lambert's shouts echoes like a shot as you enter the crowded galley. From what you can tell, more than half the crew have crowded into the space and are clumped around some perched on the side units. I order you to return to your stations. Lambert floats slightly above the crowd, his hands held in a gesture of futile calming or nervous surrender. You see him glance over his shoulder, and tracing his view, you see security officers tensely gathered at the back of the room. One Kirk. Turn to Kirk, ready to indicate the mass security, but you're met with a wide smile that makes you pause. Just wait. Kirk winks, and you turn to see security moving through the crowd. You will not retreat willingly. You will have no other choice than to use force. Lambert's voice breaks with anger. Disperse! He watches the guards form up behind Lampert, and then one moves forward and grabs him, forcing his arm behind his back. The act is met with a raucous cheer from the assembled crew and a yell from Lampert himself. He is forced through the crowd, who part in jeer, heading directly for the corridor from which you entered. When Lambert is close, Kirk nods to the security officer holding him and they stop. Lambert looks up in confusion and stares directly into Kirk's grin. You are officially removed from duty as captain of the Headstream on the authority of the Wellspring Workers Alliance. Kirk's tone is direct and clipped. This is done with the authority of a majority ballot of your crew. Workers Alliance? You have no authority, you pirates! Lambert spits at Kirk. There will be consequences. On that we agree. Kirk nods to the security officers and they wrench a struggling Lambert from the room. Kirk watches Lambert go, determination set in his heavy brow. I underestimated you. They underestimated all of us. Kirk puts a hand on your shoulder. They always do. Lambert can enjoy the hospitality of his own brig. Kirk pats you on the back. We have a celebration to muster. The galley erupts in liberated joy and soon drinks and food are passed around from a stash Lambert had been asking the quartermaster to keep back for his own use. You settle on the counter and look on as the crew celebrates. You watch as Kirk moves effortlessly through the room, giving and receiving thanks in equal measure. Despite his intimidating appearance, you see in him something softer coming to the surface, something reserved for those he has struggled alongside. Fresh allies, or old friends to him. After the celebrations have died down and the crew had retreated to make plans for supporting the blockade, holding out on what they have, Kirk approaches you. Not toasting the victory, he offers you a transparent bag of ship-brewed moonshine. To the crew of Headstream, Kirk smiles. To our comrades. I think it's time we return to Wellspring. He looks off towards the last crew members leaving the room. You've done our job. Say the word. I'm just the pretend captain, Kirk smiles. The ship out there is yours to command and everyone knows it. The son notices how exhausted Kirk looks, his eyes dark and hooded. He looks down towards the scuffed floor. You did well here. He smiles weakly. Be certainly stirred something up, he pauses. I don't want to overthink it, Lampert is right. Retaliation will come. He looks around the room. I hope they will be ready when he does. He sighs, a heavy sigh. Kirk takes a deep breath and lets it out slow. The strike goes on. He pushes out from the counter and heads towards the docker bridge. Take a moment before you follow, your mind drifting to the crew and the struggle they have ahead. As you do a small and perhaps unfair part of your things, well, that's life in the belt. The cut thrums with tension. This steaming city and its brash inhabitants have quietened. Not to the silence, but to a low rumble of conversation. The blockade is holding, the syndicate is waning, and everywhere there are plans to be made. You and Seraphine float idly in Chasm Row, many stories deep into this wound in Wellspring's side. Waiting on Kirk, not far from the first place you met, a meeting Seraphine still has lingering bruises from. Kirk is inside somewhere, and like every other Lotte contractor, he is making plans. Even before you arrived back in Wellspring, he had hijacked the rig's transmitter to speak with his fellow conspirators and make arrangements for his arrival. Watching Kirk's plot unfold made you realize that, despite your involvement, in the end, you were just a subsidiary part of his struggle, a chaotic outside actor with effect but no real influence. Now, waiting for Kirk's return, you feel a little solace in that. You aren't ready to be dragged into another struggle, not yet. Still have your freedom to win, and looking at Seraphine next to you, you know that he does too. Alright, we're on. Kirk comes out of passage nearby, nodding to the two of you to follow. It leads you both into the Ryan Market passageways, this time not to the steaming market hall that lies beneath the deep streets, but to a cramped room, walled with pipes and rusted panels. Just a little longer, he nods to you both. Hold here. He exchanges a serious look with you before pushing off and gliding back out of the room. Watch Kirk go, your relationship having settled into a quiet and mutual respect. His eyes are on bigger things now, workers' council and contract negotiations, and you know that. Perhaps one cycle ahead you will find a moment to drink together once again and discuss everything that's happened. For now, Kirk has other things on his mind. Seraphine settles again. You shoot him a look, but his focus is elsewhere. His eyes glazed over. You fold your arms and wait. Sarah? Tala enters so quietly that in the dim room you barely notice her. She shoots you a look and a smile as she enters. Thank you, she mouths silently and then turns her attention to her brother. Tala, Seraphine says her name like a sigh, like an exhale. He's shaking his head, his eyes already shining with uncontrollable emotion. She rushes across the room, flying into Seraphine at speed. They embrace, softly spinning in the dust and dark, their fingers dug into each other's backs. They separate, a couple of pristine spheres of briny tears spinning away through the air as they do. You're safe, Seraphine nods, taking a breath. I'm safe, she smiles, reassuring, settling him. And in this settling, this gesture of care, you see a whole network of signs and secrets. Tala is the calm of Seraphine's storm, the big sister who eases his heart. She looks him up and down. You are so big, Sarah. He laughs at her own statement. You're grown up. He tries to make it sound approving rather than patronizing. You're just the same, sister, Seraphine shakes his head. Call me big, but make me feel small. The moment the statement leaves his lips, you feel a chill in the room, and you're unsure if he meant it. Tala flinches a little, hurt but not wanting to show it. I came to find you, Tala tries again. I needed to find you. Seraphine looks torn, and you see in him something you have come to recognize, the slow and careful raising of his defenses. Why now? He looks away. It's been a long time, Tala. Mom and Dad finally decide they want me to come home? A ripple of emotion runs through Tala, one she can't hide. Sarah, they are... After you left, they're gone. She sighs. I thought you would have... He struggles to find the words. It's been a long time. It has. Seraphine sets his face into a stern look of control, but you know he's raging inside. And in this moment you feel closer to him than you have felt in a while. Tala folds her arms, trying to regain a little control of the exchange. It's good to see you, Sarah. So good. You know what is coming, and you see Seraphine brace for it too. But I can't leave with you. She looks pained. This isn't easy for her either. Seraphine can only nod, a dulling acceptance washing over him. I wanted to find you, and I have, and I can see you're strong. And well, and he shoots you a glance. You have your life here. But the people here, the other contractors, they were the ones who found me, who have kept me going since I ended up here, desperate and alone. She smiles warmly. It's not that I owe them, it's that they are my family too. She gently places a hand on his shoulder. I know you understand this. He smiles at you. We all find our families out there. Seraphine smiles a rare smile, his eyes wet. You do, sister. He embraces her again. They separate, and Tala turns her attention to you. I know you will take care of my brother, Sleeper, she smiles. I saw it in your eyes when you came to the pit head. She approaches and puts a hand on your shoulder. I can see you're building something of value on that ship of yours. I'll take care of Seraphine. I'm sure you will, she exhales and takes her hand away. She folds her arms again, her sense of control returning. There's a wisdom and experience of Tala that brings a certain calm to you, and you feel that now. Will you two be staying here for a while, or? Tala looks between you and Seraphine. Seraphine cuts in before he can answer. Not long, he smiles. We have our own freedom to find. I don't know, it's just be aware. You're free to pass the blockade, but after that, he sighs. The wellspring is going to be locked down for a little while. At least until Kirk can establish his council. Next time you come, she smiles proudly, this will be a very different place. Hearing Tala say this, you suddenly see the authority in her, and realize that one of those council seats may have her name on it. You look between the two of them and realize they have gears to catch up on, and they will probably rather do that without you watching. You nod to them and slip out of the room, a lilting conversation starting up the moment you leave. As you follow the twisting corridors back up to Casman Row, you smile to yourself at the thought of Tala and Seraphine, reunited at last. You hope this whole adventure will make Seraphine a little less moody, even though you know deep down it will probably make him worse. Later in the cycle, Seraphine quietly comes back to the rig. He immediately settles himself in the cockpit and starts running diagnostics on the engines. He looks up as you enter and shoots you a smile. Good to see you up here, Sleeper. I'm getting her ready to get head out. How are you doing? I'm good, Sleeper. Really good. He flicks a sequence of switches. Sleeper? Seraphine turns to your face. Thank you. He smiles. I appreciate you bringing us all the way out here. I won't forget it. Will Tala be okay? She's found a place here and I'm really happy for her. He looks away out of the cockpit windows at Wellspring. Joe always was the responsible one, and I was always the one running away. I guess some things never change. Seraphine quietly watches diagnostics complete, a subtle smile on his lips. One thing is for sure, you've been here too long. Seraphine meets your eye. We've been seen by too many people. Wellspring may be far out of Utsubo territory, but I'm sure Lane will find a way to reach his nasty claws out here given enough time. Let's not give him the chance. Hey guys, Bliss' voice is echoed up the passage into the cockpit. They lean into the door looking between the two of you. Two contractors just dumped a load of fuel outside our ship. Said it was a gift. You and Seraphine look at each other. Got to be Kirk. Seraphine gets up. It's either a thank you or his way of telling us to get going. Seraphine kicks off and glides out of the cockpit. Hey, so, he smiles. Well, you two have been busy, so have I. Been looking at the rig's drive and I reckon it's due an upgrade. We need engine components, quite a few, so keep an eye out, Bliss strikes. Shipyards tend to be a good place. Look. Thanks, Bliss. Bliss winks. Anytime, decide. Better go help Seraphine with their fuel. As Bliss leaves the cockpit, you find yourself lost in thought, considering your next step while the icy expanse of Wellspring glitters below. Okay, so now we can go through the belts, yes. Okay, off. Way with you. Let's see, okay, we need... It's costly. Ugh. That was expensive. Let's see. Got 4 points. Put points in there. Map. Good. Okay. I want to get to here. Look up here. Will we be able to go through here, or will this bullshit be in the way? I just want to get here and or actually, let's go over here, Scary Yards. So let's go to Flotsam. And then we can buy fuel and then we go to the